the rest of the world, most of the rest of the world, is the jungle. And the jungle could invade.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good achievement. But anyways, so you guys know about this guy. His name is Joseph Borrell. He is the foreign policy chief in Europe, and he's about to teach you guys about gardening and human nature. Not to teach me, to teach you guys. Me already know. Tell me if you can hear.
Yes, Europe is a garden. We have built a garden. Everything works. It's the best combination of political freedom, economic prosperity, and social cohesion that the humankind has been able to build. There's three things together. And here Bruges is maybe the good representation of beautiful things, intellectual life, well-being. The rest of the world, and you know very well, Federica, is not exactly a garden. The rest of the world, most of the rest of the world, is the jungle. And the jungle could invade the garden. And the gardeners should take care of it.
See, I love that, because for some reason he is compelled to come out and say that. You have to understand. So most people think he spoke his mind by mistake. That's not true. These are incredibly experienced politicians. So he did this on purpose. If I could guess, he basically did it to speak to a certain class of European elites. Not the very high ones. Though the very high elites at the very top, the billionaires, those only need reassurance. They don't need to be spoken to directly on media, right? He's talking to the petty elite. He's talking to the guys who have like £1 million pounds or whatever euros, right? Those who he's talking to. I'm not saying that dude is not a racist. Obviously, these people, they hate Africans, and he doesn't say who he's talking about. But we know who he's talking about. This is mainly directed at Africans, right? And what I say is very simple. You have a garden, we have a jungle. So why do you keep interfering in our jungle? Right? If we are animals living in a jungle, why don't you leave us to do our animal things? Right? Why do you keep overthrowing leaders? Why do you keep insisting we buy your stuff even though your stuff is more expensive than anybody else? And you know you get your stuff from China anyways and then come and sell it back. But that's who he's talking about. And even if he's talking about others, it's the same thing. The people in this world who cannot keep to their own business are Western Europeans. They are everywhere. They want to take over everything. They are some of the most corrupt people. These people talk about corruption in third world countries. These people are so corrupt, it's unbelievable. But most of their corruption is legal, and they export their corruption to other countries too, right? These are the people who bribe leaders and politicians and call it aid. So no, these people can't be the people to talk. But his message is delivered. And if you notice in his voice, you can sense some hesitation. You know, he keeps rubbing his hands and everything, right? He knows what he's doing and he's hesitant, but I don't want to go as far as to say that he doesn't want to do it. No, it's very, very important that he appears in front of the whole lot of Europe and say those words. They decided it's important that he went out and said those words. On the other hand, they can't leave us alone. And they don't want African nations to deal with any other nation. I'll give you an example. Here is another video.
Russia is able to deflect blame.
Oh, he's talking about
Russia is able to deflect blame, twist reality, and to find an audience in some part of the world. I've seen in the TV screens these African young people on the streets of Bamako with a billboard saying, Putin, thanks, you have saved the Donbass, and now you will save us. It's really shocking. Well, you can consider these people don't know where the Donbass is. Maybe they don't even know who is Putin, but they are getting mobilized on the streets. And I see in some capital of a country who is a candidate to become member of the European Union. You don't have to go to Bamako, you have to go to the Balkans. And you will see in the Balkans, thanks, happy birthday, Mr. Putin.
This arrogant pig, after he talks about gardens and how everybody else is in a jungle, why does he care what Africans do? Men, stay within your garden. Keep your garden. Why is it that you're concerned about these so-called young men in Bamako? Yeah? And he adds there that they don't even know where the Donbass is and they don't know who Putin is. Now, that part, he himself doesn't believe that. He knows very well Putin is literally the most popular person on the planet, especially right now. So he's aware of that. But saying that, he's just adding a little bit of what in Swahili we call madharau. You know, or in English it's called what? Contempt. Right? This is a human being who does not respect others and the choices they have made. These are the so-called global leaders. These are the same people who are telling us about European values. Arrogant people. If you look down at these young men in Bamako and think they are nothing, then why does it bother you enough to talk about it publicly? It's because, one, a lot has changed, right? A lot has changed. This whole war they're fighting in Ukraine has changed a lot. These people were really surprised that more or less for the first time, African nations told these guys, wait a minute, you want us to punish Russia? So who is gonna punish you for the things you have done all over Africa? To prove to me, as an African, that Russia is the bad guy, and yet all former colonizers are a member of NATO, and NATO is the good guy now. That doesn't make any sense. And you cannot convince the people of that. And even the African leaders you see all the time going to Europe and everything, most of them don't even try because it's not going to work. That leader is going to lose political capital trying to fight Russia. And again, the effect that African nations would have, especially on trade with Russia, would be minimal. So it would be a symbolic gesture. You would end up mobilizing all your political forces, members of parliament, senators, and all those people to go meet and then pass a bill to punish a country. And yet that country has not done anything wrong to you. And the other way around is true as well. If Russia told Africa to punish the United States, African nations would say, come on, man. You know, the point I'm trying to make here is you're in your garden, but for some reason, you will not keep your nose out of the jungle. For some reason, you won't stop talking about the jungle. They are now surprised that the Chinese are doing well. They try their best to make sure the Chinese are not seen in their media. They make sure that the development that China has so far, you can't see it anywhere. Because somebody who is not within the garden doing well, the people who live in the garden will have to start questioning whether it's a garden anymore or whether it's actually better to be in the jungle as opposed to being in the garden. But I love these kind of things. I love when they talk like that because back in the day, we didn't have social media. So for that reason, these people would say these things and the average person would not see them. But the good thing about today is you say these kind of things everybody will see it, and everybody will see who you are. And I'm not saying that Africans are going to do anything about it, but they know you now.